Welcome all my dear students to Sudharma's Physics Classroom. Today we are going to discuss part 3 of our NCERT exemplar questions, and that is long answer questions from NCERT exemplar. In the last two videos of part 1 and part 2, I have discussed the multiple choice questions and short answer questions from exemplars. And today we are going to deal with long answer questions. Long answer questions in the sense we will have to answer in detail and it carries 5 marks. So hope you understand how much we have to write for each question. I'll explain you when while discussing the question. So let's get into the questions. So this is question number 29. We have done up to question number 28. Those were the short answer questions. So this is a continuation of that. I'll be giving the link for that video in the description box. Okay. So 3 incandescent bulbs of 100 watt each are connected in series in an electric circuit. In another circuit, another set of 3 bulbs of the same voltage are connected in parallel to the same source. Which bulb in the two circuits glow with the same brightness? Justify your answer. So let's try to draw the circuit. 3 incandescent bulbs of 100 watt each are connected in series in an electric circuit. So series connection is this. This is a symbol for bulb, and we are connecting that to the supply voltage. So each one is 100 watt bulb, right? So each one is 100 watt. That means they meant that it is having the same power rating. Now in another circuit, another set of 3 bulbs of the same wattage are connected in parallel to the same source. And another set, okay, so the same incandescent bulbs of 100 watt each, they are connected in parallel. See, this is a long answer question, so we are supposed to draw the diagram and explain it. It is connected to the same source, right? So current flows from positive to negative. Diagram is done. Each one is 100 watt, identical bulbs, 100 watt. First question, will the bulb in the two circuits glow with the same brightness? What will be your answer? In both the circuits, will the bulb glow with the same brightness? No. Because in series connection, when they are connected in series, the resistance get added up and the current will be decreasing. So each bulb will not get the sufficient amount of current, and since it is a series connection, there is no sufficient amount of voltage given to the bulbs. Each bulb will be getting less amount of voltage because in series connection, voltage will be divided among each resistor. Resistor in this case is it is distributed among these bulbs. Okay. In parallel case, see, will the bulb in the two circuits glow with the same brightness? No. Because here, see, each bulb will glow with less brightness, but in the case of this, no will happen in the case of series connection. Okay, in series connection, each bulb will not glow with the same brightness. But here what happens? Here it will have the same brightness because equal amount of potential will be given. Each bulb will be given the same amount of current, the required amount of current will be given to the bulb. Okay, so that is the answer. So if you connect the conductors in parallel, it will be getting the sufficient amount of voltage and it will be getting the sufficient amount of current and it will glow brightly. Okay, here what happens? Here the current will be different. So in series and parallel, the brightness will be less. So in series, the brightness will be less bright. Okay, less bright, and in parallel it will be more bright. We are comparing these two circuits, right? So in parallel connection, it will be more bright because it's getting the same amount of voltage and required amount of current. Now let one bulb in both the circuit gets fused. Will the rest of the bulb continue to glow in each circuit? Again, we have to categorize that into series and parallel, right? In series, what happens? If now one bulb in both the circuits get fused, if one bulb in the series connection get fused, what happens to the rest of the bulb? no bulb will glow in series connection. No bulb glows in series connection. Other two bulbs will be glowing. Other two bulbs will glow in the case of parallel connection, because parallel connection, each one is working in its own separate connection, right? So it will glow. Even if one of the bulbs get fused, other bulbs will not be affected because of that. That is why we are preferring parallel connection over series connection in household circuit. Okay, so that's about this question. Now state Ohm's law. How can it be verified experimentally? Does it hold good under all conditions? Comment. So Ohm's law statement, hope all of you have studied Ohm's law statement. It is very, very important. So statement of Ohm's law is, at constant temperature, the voltage potential difference across a conductor and current are directly proportional, right? When the physical conditions remain constant, then since it is a long answer question, we have to express it mathematically. V equals IR, where R is the resistance of the conductor. How can it be experimentally verified, right? So you have to draw the Ohm's law circuit diagram. You have to strictly follow the NCERT textbook diagram. There is no other choice for that. You have to learn the same diagram, and since it's a question on experimental verification, we are supposed to explain how do we calculate, how do we tabulate the values. So the connection can be drawn like this. This is our textbook diagram. So we have to connect, insert the cells in a systematic way. Initially we insert one of the cells, that is the first cell. Then the number of cells in the circuit is 1. Current through the nichrome wire. Nichrome wire is our resistance wire. You will read the ammeter reading, tabulate it here. Then potential difference, you observe the voltmeter reading, tabulate here, and then calculate V by I. So then you connect that to the second cell. That means 2 cells are included in the circuit. It creates a battery. So accordingly you will measure the voltmeter and ammeter reading and continue the procedure. Then finally you get V by I. So here you will be taking the average of it. So even if when the voltage and current are increasing, when you increase the potential difference, increase the number of cells, the V by I value remains constant. So this is how we can verify Ohm's law. Ohm's law experiment is complete only after drawing the VI graph. After getting the value, we have to plot the VI graph. Okay, so if the conductor is obeying Ohm's law, then we will be getting a straight line graph. Does it hold good under all conditions? It will not. It will not hold under all conditions, because in the statement of Ohm's law itself, we have the physical conditions should remain constant. When the temperature increases, then the conductor will not obey Ohm's law. For example, electric bulb, incandescent bulbs, it works on heating effect of electric current. So when the temperature increases to very high amount, then the resistance will increase there. When temperature increases, resistance will increase. Okay, so there are conductors which will not obey Ohm's law. They are called as non-ohmic conductors. Okay, so Ohm's law will not be valid under all conditions. Only under certain conditions, when the physical conditions remains constant, then Ohm's law will be obeyed by the conductor. And for those conductors which are non-ohmic, Ohm's law is not valid. Okay, so that's the answer for this. So make sure you state the Ohm's law, then write it mathematically, because this is a long answer question. So expressing that mathematically, you will get 2 marks, and the remaining explanation you will be getting 3 marks. Okay, that is how the marking scheme is. Next question. What is electrical resistivity of a material? What is its unit? Describe an experiment to study the factors on which the resistance of a conducting wire depends on. We have resistance R is equal to rho L divided by A, right? So if L is equal to 1 meter and area of cross section is equal to 1 meter square, then the resistance and resistivity will be numerically equal. Okay, so resistivity is the characteristic of a material, and it is numerically equal to the resistance of a conductor of unit length and unit area of cross section. This concept I have explained many times during the discussion. So hope you have already learned about it. And what is a unit of electrical resistivity? From the equation R equals rho L by A, rho is equal to RA divided by L, right? So resistance is expressed in ohm, area in meter square, and length in meter. So ohm meter is the unit of electrical resistivity. Now describe an experiment to study the factors on which the resistance of a conducting wire depends. So this is where almost all students goes blank, because we have a habit of not reading the textbook. In the end, especially those who read the textbook, they don't look at the tables given there. So in our NCERT textbooks, you can see lot of tables, experiments explained, and you can see that in some blue box. Okay, so don't leave that simply. You have to go through that. Anyone can frame a question from that because it's experimental verifications. So take care of those tables also. Anytime you can get questions from that. So this is the experimental verification circuit to study the factors affecting the resistance of a conducting wire. So let me briefly explain the experiment here. Initially, we take a wire, connect that in the circuit, then switch on the key, observe the ammeter reading. Now you're going to take a wire of double the length. You observe the ammeter reading. And in the third step, you're going to take a thicker wire, then observe the ammeter reading. So why we are taking the ammeter reading? We have, according to Ohm's law, here the potential difference is constant, right? So R is equal to V by I. Resistance is inversely proportional to the current, or current is inversely proportional to resistance. So in the first case, when we take a single length, we get some amount of current. When you double the length, observe the current, then take a thicker wire. That means the area of cross section is changed. So in that case, what is the current, right? Then you're going to, in the fourth case, you're going to change the material itself. So when material changes, definitely that will affect the ammeter reading. So observe what happens in all these cases and understand. So when you do this experiment, you will come to a conclusion that resistance is directly proportional to length and resistance is inversely proportional to area of cross section. Okay, here you can see, does the current depend on the length of the conductor? Yes. When the length is changed, current changed, that means the resistance changed. Okay, so this is the experiment to explain the factors affecting the resistance of a conductor. So take the textbook and read this experiment. Okay, learn the diagram also, because there is a scope for 5-mark question here. Now, how will you infer with the help of an experiment that the same current flows through every part of the circuit containing 3 resistances in series connected to a battery? So we have to connect 3 resistors, right? 3 resistors in series. So we have to check whether the same current is flowing through all the resistors, right? So join 3 resistors of different values in series, connect them with a battery and an ammeter and a plug key. So we have to connect an ammeter and a plug key. So we can connect a key here. So you may use the resistors of values like 1 ohm, 2 ohm, 3 ohm, etc. This is our textbook explanation, and a battery of 6 volt for performing this activity. So you can say that you can connect 3 resistors in series, let's say R1, R2 and R3. Now what do you see? First you connect the ammeter here. Now you can take the ammeter and connect it between R1 and R2. Observe the reading. Again, after that, remove that and again connect it between R2 and R3. In all the cases, you have to note down the ammeter reading. You will come to see that all the cases ammeter reading was not changing. Okay, so this data I kept here so that you will understand where it is in the textbook. Okay, so you can look, just refer the figure 12.6 from your textbook. Okay, so it's the same thing. So we are going to change. They didn't even show the meter changed position. They just showed only one position of the ammeter. So we have to explain it. Okay, we are going to connect it at different positions and note down the values. And once we note it down, the ammeter reading, we can observe that it has not changed. Okay, so that's about the experiment. The next one is, how will you conclude that same potential difference exists across 3 resistors connected in parallel arrangement to a battery. So we have to prove that same potential difference exists across 3 resistors connected in parallel arrangement to a battery. So we have to connect a voltmeter. So the experimental arrangement is this: 3 resistors are connected in parallel. You are going to connect voltmeter across R1. So first you connect voltmeter across R1. So you have to do only one diagram, then you have to explain it. Okay. So first you can say that in the first step you connect the voltmeter between A and B, that is R1. Across R1 you connect the voltmeter. You will note down the reading. Then remove that and connect that voltmeter across R2, then across R3. In all the cases you can see that the voltmeter reads the same value. Okay. So why it is happening so? Why it is the same voltage passing through all the resistors? We are connecting that across the same terminals, right? It's connected across the same terminal of A and B. Okay, so potential differences between any 2 points in a circuit. So R1, R2 and R3, all of them are connected to 2 common points A and B. That is the reason we are getting the same potential difference. Hope you understood it. Now, what is Joule's heating effect? How can it be demonstrated experimentally? List its 4 applications in daily life. So Joule's law of heating effect, H equals I square RT, right? H equals I square RT. How can you demonstrate it experimentally? You have to connect a resistor and a voltmeter and an ammeter. This is a simple resistor circuit. So you connect this, and what you can do is increase the current in the circuit and try how much heat is produced in the resistor. You can reduce the amount of current and try how much heat is produced. Allow the current to pass for long time and check the temperature, and allow the current to pass through for less time, then again check the temperature. So in all these cases we can understand that H is directly proportional to square of the current. H is directly proportional to resistance of the conductor. H is directly proportional to the time. Okay, so how much time this current flows through the conductor. So resistance we can change and try. You initially use a less resistance wire, then use a more resistance wire. So in both the cases, observe. See, some cases we can even touch and feel it, but we need to be very careful while dealing with electric current. So list 4 applications in daily life. What are the 4 applications of heating effect in daily life? We have already discussed the applications of a heating effect. One is electric iron, right? Electric iron. Then electric heater. Electric heaters will have heating coil, right? That will be producing heating effect. Then fuse wire is very important application. Then 4th application we can say bulbs, incandescent bulb. Incandescent bulb. Okay, if you find out any other examples, you can message me in the chat box. They asked 4 applications in daily life. Okay, now coming to the last question of electric current chapter. Find out the following in the electric circuit given in figure 12.9. Effective resistance of 2 8-ohm resistors in the combination. See, it's a big question. It looks like a big question. Let's do it one by one. Okay. So, effective resistance of 2 8-ohm resistors in the combination. 2 8-ohm resistors are connected in parallel. So, Rp equals R1 R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So that's equal to 8 into 8 by 8 plus 8, right? 64 divided by 16. You will get it as 4 ohms. Otherwise, you can directly do 8 by 2, R by N. That formula also we can do. B. Current flowing through the 4 ohm resistor. So to calculate the current flowing through the 4 ohm resistor is in series with the other combination. So let's calculate the total resistance. R series is equal to 4 ohm plus the effective resistance of the parallel combination. Okay, I hope you're understanding, or let me write that in a separate step. 4 ohm plus Rp, right? 4 ohm plus Rp is 4 ohm. So that's going to be 8 ohm. Total resistance is 8 ohm. So what is asked here? The current through the 4 ohm resistor. So I is equal to V by Rs. V is 8 volt and R series is 8 ohm. So we will be getting 1 ampere. Always remember to write the unit, okay, because the final answer with proper units only will give you the full mark. Now, potential difference across the 4 ohm resistance. That means through AB, what is the potential difference across AB? So, V equals IR. 1 ampere current is flowing through this 4 ohm. 1 ampere into 4 ohm, that is equal to 4 volt. Question D, power dissipated in 4 ohm resistor. P equals I square R. So I square, 1 square into 4. They are asking for 4 ohm resistor. So we'll be getting the power as 4 watt. And E, difference in ammeter reading if any. Ammeter reading, where is the ammeters? A1 and A2, they are all connected in series, and those ammeters will be showing the same current. Okay, so difference in ammeter readings, no difference in 2 ammeters, because the total current, same current will be flowing through each element in the series connection. See, if one of the ammeters are connected somewhere on this 8 ohm, then definitely the current will be different. But A1 and A2, they are connected in series. So it will be showing the total current in the circuit. Okay. So here comes the end of this chapter. So we have discussed the whole question answers of NCERT exemplar. NCERT text back exercises are done during the discussion of the concepts. So go and check all the previous videos, revise the chapter and learn it properly. Okay. So the next video will be about magnetic effect of electric current. Okay. So make sure you practice all this. Magnetic effect of electric current is a kind of theory chapter. Okay. So it's a little bit different from the chapter already we have discussed. Okay, so I will be giving the link for all the previous videos in the description box. So those who have not seen those videos, you can click those links and watch the videos and learn the chapter. Okay, so if you are watching this video for the first time, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon for more updates on the new chapters. So in the coming video, I will be with you with the chapter magnetic effect of electric current. Thank you for watching and bye.